is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. Madison and I just watched the brand new Transformers movie called Bumblebee. That is a very good impression of a bumblebee. This is an early screening. The movie drops in theaters on the 21st of December. I was very excited because I'm a big Transformers fan.
And we got to see it early.
And we did get to see it early, so that was cool. But I'm not necessarily a fan of the Michael Bay Transformers movies. I thought the first one was good. I thought the third one wasn't terrible. All of the other ones, not the greatest. So I was hoping Bumblebee could at least be as good as the first one. Madison, were you excited for this movie?
I was excited, but I do have to say, I think I've only seen the first Transformers
Count
movie.
your blessings. That is incredible.
Honestly, if I saw the second, I don't remember it.
Okay, well, nobody does. So let's talk about Bumblebee. If you guys don't know how my reviews work, I like to talk about the good, the bad, and then give you my score. This has been such a busy week. Into the Spider-Verse review is on my channel now. I'm ranking the Spider-Man movies. I will be ranking the Transformers movies. And if you guys want, I might even do a spoiler review for Bumblebee later on down the line when it comes out. But I'm really excited to talk about this film. Let's get into the good.
Let's go.
On the run in the year of 1987, Bumblebee finds refuge in a junkyard in a small Californian beach town. Charlie, on the cusp of turning 18 and trying to find her place in the world, discovers Bumblebee battle-scarred and broken. It sounds a lot like Iron Giant. It sounds like a throwback to the 80s. What an interesting premise. What a way to kind of soft reboot this universe. I've been hearing so many rumors that this is kind of in the continuity of the Michael Bay movies, but it's also a way to slightly tweak and reboot some things about the Transformers universe. So I was excited to see if this movie could pay off, and if it did, I think this could be the start of something new, to quote High School Musical. Madison, that's really good.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How many Transformer movies are there? Not including this one.
There was an animated movie in the 1980s, and there have been 5 Michael Bay movies.
5?
Yeah, 5. 5 Michael Bay
5.
movies.
Oh,
and the last 2 have had Mark Wahlberg. Isn't it
Okay.
incredible? Say hi to your mother for me. All right, so we're getting into what we liked about the film. Madison, what were your takeaways from this movie? How did you feel walking out of the theater? Was this movie worth it?
Yes, this movie was definitely worth it. I definitely enjoyed it, and like always, I'm gonna say my favorite was the music. The music was really good in the film.
It was very good.
It
Very
was really
throwback to the
good.
80s.
Well,
Throwback
it had to be 1987. That's the prime.
And you're also
Optimus Prime.
Hello. You're also a big fan of Haley Steinfeld.
Yes.
Did you like her in the
She's
film? Do you think she
gorge.
worked?
Yes, she does. She always does so good. True Grit's my favorite movie that she's in. She's just a really good actress, and this film was no exception. She was still really good.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you on that point, and I agree with you. I think Bumblebee was a really good movie. This is absolutely, in my mind, the best Transformers movie we have gotten so far. I liked, like I said, the first Michael Bay movie, but Bumblebee has so much going for it. From the throwback to the 80s, a little bit of cheese thrown in there, but in a lighthearted way. Travis Knight did a great job with this film.
I wouldn't just say this is one of the best Transformer films. I'd say this is a really good film overall.
I completely agree with you. Travis Knight, so the guy directed Kubo and the Two Strings. I thought that movie was fantastic, but how is he going to transition?
random.
It is very random, but how is he going to transition into live action? He films it in an interesting way. It's very different from the Michael Bay Transformers films. And one thing that Michael Bay does well is he does the action scenes well when it's not the Transformer on Transformer action, because he films that way too close up. You can't tell what's happening. Travis Knight uses wide shots and leaves the camera far enough away where you can tell what is going on. And I loved the action scenes between the Autobots and the Decepticons in this film. And there is a 5-minute stretch at the beginning of this movie. If you're a fan of the 80s Transformers, and if you love Transformers in general, you are going to be geeking out in your seat, because we get to see some things happen on Cybertron. You get to see some of the heroes that you know and love, guys. I was sitting there like, this is fantastic. Now, they had the lights on in the theater. They didn't turn those off until about 15 minutes in, so that kind of compromised the experience, but I was not letting that take away from how cool it was seeing our heroes on screen, on Cybertron, and it was handled so well by Travis Knight. I want Travis Knight back. I want him in the forefront of this universe. I want him to do what Michael Bay was doing, because I think he has a handle on these characters. He is taking this kid's toy, what a lot of people like to call it, and a great series in the 80s, and he is bringing it to life with characters from technically the Michael Bay universe, and I think that is absolutely brilliant. Madison, you had something to say?
Yeah, I was gonna add that I thought the CGI was actually really good.
Oh, it was great.
Like, even when she would, like, interact with Bumblebee, it was seamless. Like, it looked really good.
Yeah, it looked to me in certain scenes, it didn't even look CGI. They may have even had a practical
That's because
aspect.
Transformers are real.
Well, they are absolutely real,
Real.
but it had a practical aspect when she was holding Bumblebee's face.
That's what I mean, yeah.
At times, I was
Maybe it
noticing,
was.
and there's a scene towards the end, guys. There had to be something on set. They had to build something with eyes that lit up, because if that's CGI, it's the best CGI I've ever seen. I haven't watched any behind the scenes stuff, so it may have actually been a practical effect. But this
It was
was
Andy Serkis.
It was Andy Serkis doing motion capture. It was seamlessly blended, and it worked so well. And that's one thing that I do think the Michael Bay movies got right, is the CGI in those films started out great. The last two movies wasn't as good, looked a little bit more cartoony, and these Transformers in Bumblebee look a bit cartoony, but in a good way, in the best way possible, in a way that if you have nostalgia for it, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love the designs of Optimus Prime and the designs of Bumblebee. But if you're a fan of the newer Transformers, you're going to have that resemblance, and you're really going to enjoy what's happening on screen, because it's just blockbuster-esque visual eye pleasure, and also ear pleasure, because like she said, the
Ear
soundtrack was
pleasure.
ear pleasure. Yeah.
ASMR ear pleasure.
Yes, it is. It is hardcore ASMR, because the soundtrack and the sound effects were some of the best I've heard all year, just as good, if not better, than some of the other blockbusters that I've really enjoyed this year. This should have been a summer movie. I'm sorry, I keep talking. It should have been a summer movie, but I think December is going to be a good release date, even though it has a lot of competition with Aquaman and Mary Poppins. My last thing I want to talk about in positives real quick is the story. Well, what'd you think about the story? Is it a good? Is it a bad? Where are we talking about this? Okay. Well, for me, I thought the story was a bit conventional. It's something that we have seen before. I made a reference to Iron Giant. It's the boy and his dog, the girl and her robot. It's an E.T.-esque story. It plays on all of those tropes. It's things that we have seen before, but I thought of it as more of an 80s throwback. It felt a bit nostalgic. I'm not comparing this to Steven Spielberg, but at times it just felt, that relationship felt like a Spielberg touch, and I really enjoyed that touch. Yes, it gets cheesy at times, especially, and we've not even talked about John Cena yet, probably because I couldn't see him in the film, but
Wait, John Cena was in this movie?
I don't know. I didn't see him. We probably shouldn't do that joke. Every person is going to do that in their review. Everybody. But I'm here to say that I didn't think John Cena was that bad. Some of his lines came off a little bit, and we'll get into that in the negatives.
He's like a performer, though. That's why.
That's how he is.
He
But
sounds
every
scripted
time...
because he's a performer.
You're right. And every time I would think about, oh, John Cena, he didn't really nail that line, he would come back with a line and make me really laugh. This movie made me laugh. There's a lot of humor in there. And this stuff with the government, it felt a bit cheesy at times, even more cheesy than the original Michael Bay Transformers. I felt like Michael Bay handled that in more of an epic way. This movie handled it more like an 80s villains, mustache twirling, not villains, but the government kind of way. But walking out of the film, it didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. I got a good chuckle out of a lot of that stuff, and it just worked with the tone. Bumblebee has a great tone, and it sticks to it throughout. The consistency in this movie is something else that just really blew me away. Any more positives?
I think we got him.
Let's go to the negatives.
Okay, I have a few negatives. Please don't butt in.
I won't butt in.
I'm going to have to go, based off what you said about the story was conventional, I'm going to add the word convenient. I just didn't like the little love story, whatever that was.
Okay.
And I'd say my second negative is the time frame. I know I feel like I said that in every review, but it's so hard. It was so hard for me to keep up from beginning of the story to the end.
You're talking about there's something that happens in the first scene, and then later on in the movie it comes back, and it's like, oh, clearly time has passed, but how much time has passed? Yeah, I get it. I didn't have a problem with it because I kind of saw something that happened on screen. I'm like, oh, that a lot of time has passed. I'm okay with that. The conventionality of the story is something that I will give you there. It was, just like I said, a bit cliched. It's something that we have seen before. Didn't bother me as much as it usually does. If I'm not enjoying a movie and it's doing multiple things wrong, I like to sit there and nitpick it and critique it, but I was enjoying myself the entire time. And I get it. There's a lot of things in there that are very cliche, But for me, I still really enjoyed the simplicity of the story because the other Transformers movies, they've been big. It's world-ending stakes. We have to go bigger every time. Bumblebee just brings it down to earth. It adds that 80s flair. It does. It does bring it down to earth. It adds that 80s flair, and it does everything you need this movie to do. I needed Bumblebee to have smaller stakes.
Maybe it feels cliche because you kind of know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Predictability is an issue here. It's something that, okay, this is happening. So clearly this is going to happen, and then there's going to be that emotional moment at the end. Boom, boom, boom. All of those things happened, but you know what? I still had fun with the story. So while Bumblebee is a story that we may have seen aspects of before, and there's a bit of predictability there, it's still a really well-directed, lighthearted, fun movie with a lot of great moments and a level of emotion that I have never seen in a Transformers movie before after the 1980s, because of course there's a very emotional moment in that film, but the Michael Bay movies never gave us that level of emotion. There was a particular scene here where characters were literally crying, and that heartfelt moment was incredible, the way that Travis Knight brought out that emotion. There are just so many good aspects of Bumblebee, and I'm so happy to tell you guys that I walked out of that theater with a smile on my face knowing that this is probably the best Transformers movie. Madison, what did you think?
I agree completely with you. We both walked out with a big smile on our face.
Yeah.
It was good to know that the Transformer universe makes sense again.
It does. It makes sense again, finally. And I will say, I think this universe is off to not a good start, but a good soft reboot, if you will. Madison. Soft start, yeah. But let's get into the score. I'm going to give Bumblebee...
Oh, good. You're going first.
Oh, man.
You better not take my score.
Okay, I'm going to give Bumblebee an 82%. I really enjoyed this movie. I liked it a lot. One of the better blockbusters I have seen this year. It's funny, it's heartfelt, it has everything you want in a film like this. Madison, what is your score for Bumblebee?
My score that I've had in my head since we left the theaters with a big smile on our faces was 84.
84! Oh, you are two-upping me. Wow. Thought I was gonna
get used to
Thought I was gonna beat you this time. Yeah, if you can't tell, we really enjoyed Bumblebee. I hope you guys enjoy it when it comes out. If you have seen it, comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you haven't seen it yet, are you excited for it? Are you looking forward to this, Into the Spider-Verse, Aquaman, Mary Poppins? There are so many great movies coming out. You guys are the absolute best. Be sure to like this video if you want more early-esque reviews, and be on board because later on this week we have a Transformers and a Spider-Man countdown. Madison, anything else you have to add?
I can't wait for Aquaman.
Yeah, she's...
Next weekend, right?
She likes Jason Momoa. Next weekend. Yes. Yeah, she's really excited. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. You are the absolute best.
Ooh. Catch you later.
There you go.